Yep.
Perpetuating lies and deception is the only thing that you seem to know.
It comes so naturally.
You thought that you'd be safe in your tower.
Not anymore.
Insulated from the people below. But the truth has undermined your foundation.
Earthquake.
So many people now in the know.
Yeah, the noticing.
You thought that you'd see the day that you could just get away from the ones you betrayed who raised their voices to say
No escape.
you won't be trusted anymore.
Of course. Of course, that song was written almost 3 decades ago. Yeah, taking the mainstream media's feet and holding them to the fire. Anyway, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you're situated on this great, big, beautiful blue globe floating through the void of Yah's creation. It's Friday. Yeah, TGIF. It is the 28th of November, 2025. These are the WTF reports. I'm Dave vonKleist, WTF with the facts. And if the facts make you exclaim, what the WTF? Well, then so be it. Anyway, okay, this program is being brought to you in part by the Wave Watch, and this is the last day of the Black Friday sale that they're having with the Wave Watch. Now, in case you didn't know, of course, that's one of our sponsors, and you usually get a 10% discount if you order the Wave Watch 2.0. Now, what's happening is that they have a Wave Watch 2.2 that's about to be released. Now, you can order that in a pre-order, and you'll get 15% off of the order for the brand new Wave Watch, which is yet to be released. However, if you've been waiting to figure out if you want to get the Wave Watch 2.0, of course, they still have inventory, and they're offering 25% off. Let that settle in. Yeah, 25% off if you order today. Get the Wave Watch 2.0. So visit our website, TheWTFReports.com, and the window will pop up there, a little pop-up window, and it'll take you to the Wave Watch site where you can order. And like I said, you'll get a massive discount. Now, for those of you who ordered the original Wave Watch, came out about 2 years ago, the square one, now they do have a slot there for an SD card for updates. And they do have an SD card to bring you all up to speed with the new frequencies for the old original Wave Watch. And that gets 50% off. So, big sale going on with Wave Watch. Go check it out and do business with them, because by doing business with them, you help keep this broadcast up and running. Okay. Now, there's so much confusion. I've been thinking over the past couple days. First of all, I hope you had a safe Thanksgiving. For those of you who did some traveling, I hope you made it to and from in good health. So, and now we are officially entering into the holiday season. Now, what is this holiday season going to have in store for us? I don't know, but either way you slice it, there's so much stuff going on. I think we're all going to be on the edge of our seats, because that's what the PSYOP is all about. Keep everybody standing up in a hammock with roller skates on, juggling chainsaws. That's how they want us all to be. However, those of us who are rooted in the truth and in the facts and in history, it's not so bad. It's not so bad. I can see the subterfuge. I can see the gaslighting. I can see the lies and the propaganda, and hopefully you regular listeners can too. Now, I've been really pondering this. I saw a couple of posts. Somebody actually posted that Jesus was a Zionist. What? What? Oh my God. The level of ignorance is dangerous out there. It really is. People have they've had the wool pulled over their eyes to such an extent that they have no clue about what reality is. They hear something and they take it to the bank without any research or history whatsoever. And this is so scary because, a lot of these Christian Zionists, they don't know what they're in for. All right, for all of you folks out there that, say, I'm a Christian Zionist, Judeo-Christian values, yes. Pastors like John Hagee, et cetera, snuggled up to Israel and Zionism. You folks don't know what you're doing. You really don't. And it's not hard to figure out. So let's do a little history. I'm going to walk you through this, okay? Let's do a search, and you can go to Wikipedia. Yeah, I mean, everybody can accept that. So let's go back to 1917, the Balfour Declaration. All right? Listen carefully the way it's worded. Now, I'm reading directly from the document itself. Dave didn't say that. This is what the Declaration says. Dated November 2nd, 1917. Dear Lord Rothschild, I have much pleasure in conveying to you on behalf of His Majesty's government the following declaration of sympathy with Jewish Zionist aspirations, which has been submitted to and approved by the cabinet. All right? I will go back and read that again. A declaration of sympathy with Jewish Zionist aspirations. All right? The two key words are Jewish Zionist. All right? Now keep that in mind. So now we do a search on Zionism. What is Zionism? Now to that person who posted Jesus was a Zionist, my gosh, I don't know how you can post stuff like that. According to Wikipedia, okay, Zionism is an ethno-cultural nationalist movement. Right there, ethno-cultural. That emerged in the late 19th century. To be specific, it was in 1896 that Theodore Herzl, who was an admitted atheist, established Zionism. Okay? Again, an ethno-cultural nationalist movement. It is a political movement. It is ethno-cultural, which means Jews only. Jews only. All right? If you're a Christian, you're not part of that club. You're not. And maybe you ought to be happy about that. Because, let me see, where did that page go? Doggone it, whenever I click on that, it's gone. Let me see, where did it go? It wanted to, here it is. Okay. Just so you know what the Zionist ethno-cultural thing is all about, we have to figure out what is Jewish. All right? Now, there are two different kinds of Jews. Now, there's the Old Testament Jews that go by the Torah. All right? Now, we all have that in common. Christians and Jews have the Old Testament in common. We've got the same 10 commandments. We have the same prophets, Abraham, the God of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and we have Jeremiah, and we have Isaiah, and we have, all of the same prophets. And by the way, for those of you of the Jewish faith, I would recommend or request that you get your Torah and read Isaiah chapter 53. And then consider that you may have missed something. All right? And by the way, I have cross-referenced the Jewish Torah with the King James Bible. And I have to tell you that Isaiah 53 is verbatim, word for word, identical. Let that sink in. So for those of you who would like to know what the Torah says, well, you can pick up the King James Bible, go to the same thing, Isaiah 53, read that, and then scratch your head a little bit and say, did we miss something? Anyway, I got a little bit off track here, but the point here is that you've got the Old Testament Jews, and then you have the Talmudic Jews. Now, the Talmudic Jews are a whole different ethnicity. They're a whole different ball of wax. And this is what is supporting, or what the Zionists are supporting, is the Talmud. Now, let me share with you, for those of you who haven't heard, I'm sure this has been posted around the social media. It's been on TikTok and Instagram and X and Facebook. People are posting. But just to pound this point home, here are a few of the quotes from the Talmud. Now, you Christian Zionists out there, you better understand this, that you are not a Talmudic Jew. Okay? Talmudic Jews believe anybody outside of that ethnicity are Goyim. You are not a human being in this is their belief. It's not me. Okay? And if you are Goyim, you come under these, let me read a couple of these things from the Jewish Talmud. Okay? And I had to establish Goyim, also known as Amalek. Look that up. Do some research. Okay, so if you are not a Talmudic Jew, and that means if you are a Christian, this is what the Talmud says about you. In Sopharim 15, quote, even the best of Goyim should all be killed. Let that settle in. In Yebamoth 98a, it says all children of Goyim are animals. They see you as less than human. That's why they don't pay any attention to the Human Rights Commission, because they don't see the Palestinians or anybody outside of their particular faith as human beings. Okay, in Baba Mizya 114b, I quote, Gentiles or goys are not humans. They are beasts. In God Chaz 2.2, it says, a Jew may violate but not marry a non-Jew girl. Oh, really? What do I mean by violate? I think we all know. In Avodah Zarah 36b, it says Gentile goy girls are in a state of nida, or filth, from birth. In Sanhedrin 54b, the Talmud says a Jew may have sex with a child as long as the child is less than 9 years old. This is from the Jewish Talmud. Hey, Christians out there, you calling yourself a Christian Zionist? You're linking with these individuals? And again, Zionism applies to the Jews. It's a ethno-national state. It was a state, not even a country. You don't want to call it. It's a state exclusively for these Talmudic Jews. And if you don't subscribe to that particular faith, then you fall under all of these different things I'm reading here. Let me see. Sanhedrin 58b, it says, if a goy kills a Jew, he must be killed. In Sanhedrin 57a, when a Jew murders a Gentile, there will be no death penalty. Okay, in Tospoth Jebamam 84b from the Talmud, it says, if you eat with a goy, it's the same thing as eating with a dog. Okay, in Baba Mizra 24a, if a Jew finds an object lost by a Gentile goy, it does not have to be returned. In Avodah Zarah 22a and 22b, quote, Gentiles, goys, prefer sex with cows. This is what the Talmud says. And if you link yourself through, Christian Zionism, what makes you think that eventually you're not going to suffer the same fate as the Palestinians? Because as far as the Talmudic Jews are concerned, if you're not one of them, then you're less than a dog. All right, so what makes you think that if we promote Zionism here in this country, that eventually they're not going to start taking after all the Christians and all the Muslims and anyone who thinks or believes differently than them? This is how serious this is, folks. And, and our entire government is being controlled by these monsters. I don't know. How do I take, they say you have to, sometimes to get the donkey's attention, you got to smack him between the eyes with a 2x4. Well, these are 2x4s of facts. This is the history. This is what it says. This is not Dave saying this. This is what the Talmud says. And, we've got Ursula van der Leer. Oh, yeah, the values of the Talmud. Yeah, this is what she said. Now, again, she's president of the European Union, and she stood before the entire assembly and made the following statement.
Europe is the values of the Talmud. The Jewish sense of personal responsibility, of justice.
Justice?
And of solidarity.
Solidarity with who? With other Talmudic Jews. That's it. And all of Europe, I'm sorry, but Europe has been, all the countries there have been Christian for not just centuries, but millennia. And now they've been, shall we say, mongrelized? Yeah, they opened up all the borders, and this was done deliberately. Same thing here in this country. Who opened up the borders? Alejandro Mayorkas, and Joe Biden, and Kamala Harris. And that's because they're all goose-stepping along with Talmudic Israel. Now, again, if you folks out there identify as Christian Zionists, you need to stop dead in your tracks and realize what you're doing. Because I promise you, you don't know what you're doing. And again, going back 30 years, I remember John Hagee. John Hagee, when I first discovered, his ministry, he was going after the New World Order. Big time. Big time. He was talking about the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers and the usury and all this type of stuff. And then I don't know where or how, but somewhere along the line, he flipped. And now he's, almost literally in bed with the Zionist Christians, saying if you don't support Israel, then you're not a good American. I mean, this is exactly what Ted Cruz has been trying to say. As a matter of fact, that's what he said, yesterday? A couple days ago. He literally got booed off the stage. He did. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy, to be quite honest with you. But seriously, he got booed off the stage. Here it is. Now, the audio is a little bit crazy, but, he starts to go after the crowd. And listen to what they said. Here it is.
Respect for dialogue.
Okay, I'm going to stop it right there. It's hard to hear what's going on, but there was an announcer who was bringing Ted Cruz to the stage. And so he was, ladies and gentlemen, Ted Cruz, blah, blah, blah. And as Ted Cruz was coming up to take the mic, this is what happened.
I will say this, I am saddened to see that some here, not everyone, but some here,
most of us
are so consumed with hate.
Oh, listen, he said you are so consumed with hate, and all of a sudden the crowd erupts.
You cannot address your brother. I will say this.
You speak for yourself.
Speak for yourself, the guy's hollering.
If you will not stand with Israel and the Jews,
No.
then I will not stand with you.
Oh, so if you don't stand with Israel, then I won't stand with you. Excuse me, Ted Cruz, you're supposed to stand with the Americans. Wait a second, don't you threaten us and say if we don't support Israel, then you won't support America? I'm sorry, but that is an admission of treason. That's an explanation of where your values are, where your priorities are. You're going to stand with Israel above and beyond America? You need to be removed from office. I mean, this is how serious this is.
Thank you, and God bless you.
And he immediately said, thank you and God bless you. He left the stage. He didn't even get to have his speech. He was booed off the stage. And well, he should have been. But I wanted to spend a little bit of time, pointing this out because we are in a very deadly situation here. If America doesn't wake up, wake the hell up and understand how dangerous this situation is if we allow or continue to allow the Israeli lobby to control our government. And that says nothing about how the Israeli Talmudic Jews have infiltrated and commandeered everything in this country, or doggone near everything. They're in charge of the pharmaceutical companies. They're in charge of the media. They're in charge of intel. They're in charge of big agri and big pharma. They have taken control of this country. How do we clear this out? I don't know. And then you got Randy Fine out there. He actually said, he came flat out and said, Jews have been expelled from 109 countries, and it wasn't our fault. Oh, my gosh. How could it possibly be not your fault if it's 109 countries? Somebody posted online, they said, hey, look, if you get 86th from 109 bars, you're doing something wrong. So anyway, it is Friday. I tell you what, I want to, instead of just sitting here and ranting for a while, and I got good reason to rant, and so do you, let's open the phone lines. It is Open Line Friday. So for you folks out there that call in the last 2 minutes of the show, if you do that again, I'm not going to answer. I'll just hang up on you. Okay? Cynthia, you hear me? She's notorious for that. Anyway, this, oh gosh, in an aside, okay, yeah, here's a little segue here to change subjects. Okay, I'm sure you've all heard about the horrific fire in Hong Kong in an apartment complex. They're saying over 100 people are known dead, and there are over 200, maybe more, maybe 300, who are missing. Now, I've seen the unbelievable flames. They've been showing it. If you haven't seen it on the news, I mean, it's been all over for the past 24, 48 hours. Horrific fire going through a huge multi-story steel-framed, I'm going to say that again, steel-framed building. Steel-framed building. Engulfed in flames. And it's really interesting that the steel-framed building didn't collapse because of a fire. Building 7. World Trade Center. Think about it, folks. I mean, that's not the only case. There have been other fires of high-rise buildings since the 9/11 attacks. Huge fires, totally engulfed from the ground up, and after the fire's put out, it's still standing there. Yeah. Anyway, just thought I'd reflect a little bit there. So I'm hopefully, the casualties won't be as high as they're estimating, but that is a horrific, horrific tragedy that's going on over there in Hong Kong. So anyway, just wanted to throw that in there. Getting back to this issue about, the Zionist Christians and the noticing that's going on, and the simple fact, I mean, I think it was, Wednesday, I played a clip. There was a woman who attended a TPUSA event, and she was really upset because she was not happy with what they were saying. She was not happy that that they were exuding. Is that the right word? They exude hatred, something like that. But she went to the TPUSA thing, and she was just totally disgusted with it. Let me see if I can have that. If I have that clip here. No, I think I might have deleted that. Oh well. Anyway, okay. So point is that lots of people now are starting to realize that maybe Candace Owens is onto something, and that all this hatred that's being spewed at the TPUSA events now, they all seem to be revolving around attacking Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson, and anybody else who is speaking out about the problems with the official narrative of Charlie Kirk's assassination. Now, more and more people, they just don't believe it. They just do not believe the official story. They don't. And let me see. Here's Candace Owens. Let me see. Is this the one I was going to play? Where is it? Oh, okay. Down here. Okay, Candace Owens. Here's a clip from Candace discussing the assassination of Charlie Kirk.
If what Candace Owens posted this morning is actually true, then we're not talking politics anymore. We're talking an international assassination plot involving France, Israel, and possibly the U.S. government. If what Candace Owens posted is even partially true, then this is the biggest political story of our lifetime. Okay, I'm going to pause it. I was mistaken by saying that this was Candace Owens. For those of you who've been following the bouncing ball of this particular issue, yes, some explosive accusations have come forward involving Emmanuel Macron and the Egyptians. Of course, we've been hearing about these Egyptian planes, and now we're hearing about contractors who were brought in specifically to take out Charlie Kirk. Now, if this is true,
then this is an international scandal of gargantuan proportions, and our government needs to investigate.
Candace says a high-ranking French government insider contacted her and told her that Emmanuel and Brigitte Macron approved and paid for her assassination. Not rumors, not speculation, a direct claim. She says France's elite counter-terror unit, the National Gendarmerie Intervention Group, was greenlit to carry it out with one Israeli operative on the team. And listen, up until this point, if anything had happened to Candace, everyone would have assumed Israel was behind it. That was the entire narrative. But now she's saying the order came straight from France, and Israel was just a piece of the operation. And that flips everything upside down. She's also claiming Charlie Kirk's assassin trained with the French Foreign Legion, which means this wasn't random. This was coordinated, multi-state, professional. And let's not forget about the planes. Don't forget about the planes. And Andrew Colvett, is this what you were warning her about? Because suddenly your credible threat comment feels a lot less random. But here's the part nobody should ignore. Candace says her source claims that the U.S. leaders already know about the threat, and they didn't warn her. If that's true, then this is no longer just a scandal. This is a national security crisis. This is where someone like Tulsi Gabbard needs to step in, someone who isn't controlled by either side, someone with military intelligence experience, someone who actually calls out corruption, foreign and domestic. Tulsi, please, we need you to demand answers. We need a real investigation, because if a foreign government ordered a political assassination on American soil of an American citizen and our own leaders stay quiet, then that should terrify every single American. Let it all be revealed. If you believe this needs to be exposed, make sure to share this video now, push it everywhere before it gets buried, and make sure you're following. I'll keep you in the loop.
There you go. Yeah, we're in a world of hurt if this is going to stand the way it is. Absolutely. Now, Candace Owens was sharing some of the things that Charlie Kirk had shared with her only 48 hours before he was murdered. Yeah, because they were still in touch. They were dear, loving, platonic friends. I don't care what anybody says in the TPUSA. They're trying to say, oh, Charlie was distancing himself from her. He was not. And as, by the way, a lot of those audio clips of Charlie Kirk, talking about his relationship with the Israeli donors, boy, they're trying to deep six all of those audio clips because that is not consistent with the narrative of TPUSA. Now TPUSA is saying, Charlie was undyingly behind Israel, all the way, 100% pro-Israel. He was not. Here's Candace Owens.
About 48 hours before Charlie Kirk died, Charlie informed people at Turning Point, as well as Jewish donors and a rabbi, that he had no choice but to abandon the pro-Israel cause outright.
Boom!
Charlie was done.
That's right. He was done. Absolutely, he was done. And then let's not forget about what Tucker was saying when he was, okay, wait a second. This is, Candace Tucker on Israel. Okay, here's another clip.
No, because Israel's controlling our government. So no, the answer is no. Trump is powerless against him. We haven't had, I don't think we've been a sovereign nation since they shot JFK. And when I say they, it's like people online say, what do you mean by they? I'm talking about Israel. I don't want you guys to read in between. I'm talking about Israel. So let's stop making that a taboo subject because they've gone masked down. Everything they're doing is demonic. I want nothing to do with it. I will never support Israel into the future after what they've done to these children. The starvation campaign. I don't care. Please write your article. You've already written them all. I don't know what you could add about me. But I do not support Israel. And I don't think that Jewish Americans should support Israel. And I hope that they're now having those conversations. I see many of them recognizing that they have been propagandized into believing they have to support this demonic state. And that's in large part thanks to their birthright trip. Yeah, that mask down moment for Jonathan Greenblatt of the ADL when he got caught on the hot mic, it was released. He didn't know that he was being recorded. And he's saying that they've got to get TikTok under control. He's we have a generational issue with TikTok. We need to do something about this like what we did with birthright. What does that tell you? That the entire purpose of that birthright trip, telling every Jewish American, you forget a free trip to Israel, was to propagandize you into believing that you have some affinity with this made-up country in the Middle East, in 1948, that you have to, react when something's happening to them, or you have to look away when they're doing things that are so obviously wrong and demonic. And so I'm hoping now that we're getting to that point where people can recognize that whether you're black, you don't have to agree with BLM, whether you're allowing your identity to shape your morality is problematic.
It's problematic. Yes, it is. Absolutely. And don't forget, a couple of months ago when Congress was in recess, Israel flew a lot of our junior Congress members over to Israel for an all-expense-paid trip to the Holy Land. That's right. You'll be wined. You'll be dined. You'll be fed. Yes, you'll see all of the tinsel and all of the glitter of Israel and Tel Aviv. And you'll get a special trip to the wall. That's right. This is how they manipulate your members of Congress. It's one of three things:
bribery, coercion, blackmail.
And then there's either take the gold or take the lead. I'll let you figure that one out, right? But Charlie was questioning everything, and we all need to keep this issue on the front burner. We cannot let this go into, the dumpster of short-term memory. And sadly, unfortunately, tragically, so many Americans have the attention span of a potato. We cannot let this go away because the fate of our country is hanging in the balance. And unless we figure this crap out, we will lose our country. We're in the process we've already lost most of it. Like I said, you look at that blue star of Remphan representing the ethno-cultural status of so many of these people who are in charge of all of the media. Look at CBS. Look at NBC. Look at ABC. Look at CNN. Look at Fox. Look at all of it. Who's in control? We have been commandeered. We have been taken over. We are an occupied nation. We are now the United States of Israel. And Charlie knew it. Absolutely, he knew it.
Bibi and the Israeli hard-right government has a mandate. I got to be careful the way I say this. They're going to try to ethnically cleanse Gaza. I mean, I don't use that term lightly.
Okay, I'm going to pause it for a second because Randy Fine has actually said that we need to nuke Gaza. He's actually said that. Keep that in mind.
Okay? They're talking about basically removing 2.5 million people from there. Okay? This is the closest thing to the Holocaust that any of us have lived through. There are some serious questions here, Patrick. And let me tell you, my pattern recognition over the last 5 years has become pretty sharp. COVID, Maui fires, Epstein. When I see a story and it doesn't click, our guts are usually right. Yeah.
How did these guys not know this was taking place?
So I've been to Israel many times. The whole country's a fortress. When I first heard this story, I still have the same gut instinct that I did initially. I find this very hard to believe. I've been to that Gaza border. You cannot go 10 feet without running into a 19-year-old with an AR-15 or an automatic machine gun that is an IDF soldier. Right? The whole country is surveilled. And most Americans don't know this. The last 9 months, Israel was on the brink of civil war. It's not an exaggeration. This judicial stuff, there were hundreds of thousands of Israelis taking to the streets because Bibi Netanyahu was basically redefining the Israeli constitution. That's not an exaggeration, right? He said the judicial branch has too much power. There were protests planned this week against Netanyahu, where they anticipated tens of thousands of people to take to the streets. That's all gone, Patrick.
Now listen to this one.
I'm not willing to go so far that saying that Netanyahu knew or there was intelligence here, but I think some questions need to be asked. Was there a stand-down order?
Boom.
Was there a stand-down order?
Yes, there was. I'm going to pause it because about a month ago, an audio was released of the IDF soldiers explaining when they got the stand-down order. It was like 5:30 in the morning. They were told not to go to that area of the wall. They were told that. I'll let this continue. Then I got another clip from Clayton Morris.
A helicopter ride from Jerusalem to the Gaza border. It's 45 minutes. 6 hours. Did somebody in the government say stand down? That is a legitimate, non-conspiracy question. The whole country is the IDF. The whole country is.
Yeah, that's the truth. And like I said, anybody who talks about this October 7th attack, saying that it was an inside job, oh, that's a conspiracy theory. You have not been paying attention. You have not been doing any research whatsoever. There's a documentary out there. I've been talking about it for the past year and a half. It's about Israel. It's 100% an inside job. It's on Rumble. And let me see it. Where is it here? Let me see. I'm going to come over here. Yeah. It's called Israel Was Behind the Attacks of October 7th, 2023, as it was an inside job. It's a documentary by John Hankey. And it's been out there for a while, and this has interviews with IDF soldiers. It's got all the evidence there showing plainly, irrefutably, undeniably that the attack on October 7th was an inside job. And again, you can't pull the wool over everybody's eyes. You can't keep doing that. It doesn't work. Clayton Morris was discussing this exact thing on his podcast called Redacted. Here's Clayton Morris. And by the way, he spent years at Fox. And he also worked hand in hand with Tucker Carlson. This is going back a good solid 10 or 11, maybe 12 years. Here's Clayton Morrison.
Well, if you wanted to know why Israel stood down for 7 hours and allowed Hamas to carry out an attack, well, on October 7th, well, we all now know exactly why. It was all part of a plan to use it as a catalyst to permanently take over Gaza, of course, and the West Bank. Yes, according to Israeli leaked documents, the plan is to ethnically cleanse Gaza of all Palestinians, steal all of the land, of course, steal the minerals, steal the trillions of dollars of natural gas and other minerals off the coast, build new hotels and resorts in Gaza. After all, if you're well studied and educated, of course, you know that Israel and the United States created and funded Hamas, well documented.
Yep.
Netanyahu bragged about it, of course. It was a brilliant plan, actually, if you think about it, right? Create an enemy, create a bad guy to rally around and fight. It's like what the Wizard of Oz says, right? You need a good enemy. Everyone needs a good enemy to rally around. And if you fund them and you create them, it's the perfect catalyst. And it's just like what we did with Al-Qaeda. So here's Ron Paul to explain just a little bit of the history of how we created and funded Hamas.
But there's a political liability, which I think is something that we fail to look at because too often there's so much blowback from our intervention in areas that we shouldn't be involved in. Hamas, if you look at the history, you'll find out that Hamas was encouraged and really started by Israel because they wanted Hamas to counteract Yasser Arafat. You say, well, yeah, that was better then and served its purpose, but we didn't want Hamas to do this. So then we as Americans say, well, we have such a good system, we're going to impose this on the world. We're going to invade Iraq and teach people how to be Democrats. We want free elections. So we encourage the Palestinians to have a free election. They do, and they elect Hamas. So we first, indirectly and directly through Israel, help establish Hamas. Then we have election. Then Hamas becomes dominant, so we have to kill them.
So we have to kill them, right? So that's exactly how it works. So the plan all along was to take over this land, push out all Palestinians so Israel would lay claim to this land. This isn't a conspiracy theory at all. It's in their own leaked documents.
And it's not hard to look up. And by the way, they have done estimates and geological surveys, and they have estimated that anywhere between $480 billion to $500 billion worth of gas is located under Gaza, and oil, I should say, gas, natural gas and oil, and just offshore. And by the way, they already have drilling platforms off the shore of Palestine, sucking up all of the minerals underneath there. Oh, and then there's also 25 years ago, in the year 2000, they drew up plans for the Ben Gurion Canal. Yeah, they want to build a canal to compete with the Suez Canal, take all that business, and they want to build that canal right through Gaza. How convenient. What a coincidence. This is what we're dealing with, folks. And getting back to this whole thing about, TPUSA and the Charlie Kirk assassination, and it's supposed to be Tyler Robinson, nobody's buying that horse hockey anymore. Nobody believes it.
So I was in line with people for 3 hours, talking to all the folks. And they were Christians, and they were happy, and they had families, and they were lovely people. And I started talking to them. And they were happy and prayerful, and none of them that I spoke to believed that the shooter that they got and have arrested actually did it. And they are
the War Room Posse. It's 0%.
They were angry.
Same with our chat.
They don't need that. They don't. Not saying this guy's not a bad guy and an evil guy.
Right.
But they think something, and this is why Kash Patel did announce today that the FBI has officially expanded the investigation. My big fear was you would get a lone wolf, lone gunman, and Utah police and everybody want to shut it down. I think Kash said today that they've expanded it out because we have to.
Yeah, you're right. You have to. I don't believe that Kash Patel is doing the right thing. I really don't. I think he knows where his bread is buttered. And I also know those three magic words. I can't help but think that they are coming into play. Absolutely. And then there's the issue about Erica. Yeah. What's the deal with Erica? Of course, every photo that you see of Erica, she's always dabbing her eyes. The grieving widow. Break out the string quartet and the violins. Yes, I know that sounds callous. It sounds insensitive. But when you look at her background and you look at how she's plugged into everything, you look at her mom and her dad and the connections that they have and what they've been involved with, I can't help but come to the conclusion that maybe, just maybe, Erica was specifically introduced to Charlie to do exactly what she did. Marry him, make him fall in love with her, have a couple of kids, because that's what handlers do. Was Erica or is Erica a handler? Well, according to TPV Sean and the investigations that are going on by many independent investigators, there's some dark stuff with Erica Kirk. Absolutely.
Bombshell legal documents reveal that Erica Kirk's nonprofit was tied to a formal investigation into child trafficking in Romania. An investigation led by local authorities and later quietly dismissed. According to the mainstream media, that's where the story ends, case closed. But dig a little deeper and it starts to unravel. Because those investigators, they never had full control. Their jurisdiction had already been ceded to foreign command structures operating inside Romania. The same network Erica's parents were deeply embedded in.
Bam!
And here's the part they don't want you to know. We have the receipts, the correspondence, and the official documents to prove every piece of it. So yes, the case was dismissed, but not because there was nothing to find, because they were never allowed to find it.
So, in regard to Candace Owens being on a hit list, if she is tagged for assassination by some foreign government, if there are people inside TPUSA who have maybe been threatened with the same fate, or maybe they were much easier to deal with just simply by having them, giving them a large amount of money, maybe some Bitcoin that's untraceable. And then there's, of course, some of these pastors and priests that are viciously going after Candace Owen and Tucker Carlson. They're going to have to expand their list, folks, because you're not just dealing with Candace and Tucker. No. You've got folks like TPV Sean. You've got folks like Clayton Morris. You've got Ian Carroll. You've got Ryan Matta. You've got, Jimmy Dore. I mean, lots and lots and lots of independent researchers are just digging and digging. And now they've got the internet. Oh, we got a phone call. Okay, bam, there we go. Okay, let's see. What do I got here? This looks like Carolyn. Hello, Carolyn. Welcome. I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. What do you got?
Oh, thank you, too. Well, I find it so interesting. The more things are opening up, the dots that we talk about being connected, it's broadening. So for me, I'm seeing it as this huge loop and unfortunately, the loop seems to end up back at the White House. I mean, look at how Erica is snuggling up to Trump. Looking, very close to JD. And at the event that we're talking about, the speaker at the TPUSA, immediately, like you said, they're attacking the people that I mean, they literally turned the ship around completely.
Yeah. Can you get a little closer to your microphone? Could you?
Yeah. Let me try this. Is this it?
That's a little better.
Oh, here, this is probably as good as it get right here.
Well,
I just think there's a big loop. It ends up in the White House. If the TPUSA, I mean, the whole thing is the question is on that, if that's true, international hit on one of our leaders, our up-and-coming leaders, who's a leader, Charlie.
Mm-hmm.
Why is there not a stop to this? Why? I'm not saying that, there's not a process and you have to indict. But when it comes to treason, and there's another hit, that apparently the White House knows about, then we've got, I feel like we're done for. I mean, this is, it's almost, I'm speechless. I want to, agree with you completely. It makes so much sense. It's like she is not a good actress.
No, she's not. No, she's not. And it's terrifying when you stop and think that, our president, Donald Trump, has taken $230 million from AIPAC.
And not to mention, what is he going to do? Build in Palestine?
I know.
Like a little money for him as a builder.
And you think about how macabre that is, because if they do go in there and start, bulldozing and building on top of the rubble where tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people are buried, many of them children. So they're going to build this new Riviera of the Mediterranean over the bones of dead children and women and children.
I'll tell you what, I wouldn't want to live there. That's like a Indian burial.
No
ground.
kidding.
You don't mess with that, But if they have that much control, I thought, how does this tie into the extreme Islamists? I know you're right. We are definitely not being overrun. We are definitely occupied. I loved when you said that. I go, yep. So when you look at they've already got, as far as territory goes, our farmland, they control the pharmaceuticals. Look what they're doing with the shot. I mean, people can run. It's like, I don't know why. I'm baffled by it, but I guess that we are so dumbed down.
We're also, the thing is, we're also being propagandized because they're really shaking up the fear factor. They say the Islamics, they've taken over Dearborn, Michigan, and they want to build Epic City in Texas, and we got to watch out for these Muslims. Now, look, I'll agree that some of the problems that we're having with extreme, Islamic regimes, that's a danger. I could see that. However, we already have a bigger danger. We've already been taken over, and it's the Talmudic Jew influence over our media that's directing the public's attention towards the Islamics, the Muslims. But when in fact,
and also those are the ones the Zionists are the ones letting it happen. Letting the Sharia law come in.
They're making it happen. They're making it happen. There's something called the Calgary Plan. If you haven't looked that up, look up the Calgary Plan. Let me see if I can pull that up here.
And are you also the one that mentioned his Genesis plan that had something to do with tied into Kissinger? Genesis?
The what plan?
Check out that. Genesis. I'm pretty sure it was Genesis. It was a Genesis that I think it has something to do with him connecting the AI with 40 of our best scientists. I mean, this whole thing is transhumanism. I mean, this whole thing it's a sci-fi movie. Mm-hmm. It's like, but they already have our land. They already have the pharmaceuticals. Like I just found out from you that I knew that it was taken over the media, but I didn't realize how bad. And what they're doing with the I just don't know who's going to be able to step up. Marjorie Greene already left. Let her run for president. Maybe that's what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
But, they're just popping us off. Like they're sniping us. I mean, that's what they're doing. What you want to see the pattern of that? I mean, how? What are people going to know when all the good guys are dead, have been assassins, and now it's just let's get rid of the people that are talking, and then we'll slaughter the rest of us like they did in Palestine. People don't think it's going to happen here.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying.
Realize that the Zionists are here.
That's why I'm saying they have completely taken over. And if these Christian Zionists don't wake up and smell the coffee, You know, you got to understand that if you're a Christian, you have the same status in their eyes as the Palestinians or the Muslims. You are you're not one of them. You are Goyim. You are less than human.
But not even just the Christians, any American, anyone in the world.
Anyone who's not a Talmudic Jew.
Yeah.
This is what they, again, I've said this so many times I could, doesn't make any difference what I believe. It doesn't make any difference what you believe. What makes the difference is what they believe. And people have to understand what they believe. And you Christian Zionists out there, you don't know what you're doing. You gotta wake up.
I know. It's scary. I'll let you continue on, but I wanted to call it earlier.
Well, good for you. I appreciate that.
I'll do better about it.
I told you. If you're going to call in the last 2 minutes of the show, I'm not answering the phone.
I know. That's why I called in. Stop scolding me.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you. All right. Okay. Thank you, Carolyn. Oh, gosh. Anyway, and if let me see, we've got about 2 or 3 minutes left. Yeah, I suppose if anybody else wants to call in, now's the time to do it. I'll give you 30 seconds. Okay. Anyway, the Calgary plan. When you look it up on Wikipedia, it says here the Kalergi, Kalergi, Kalergi plan. And I read, it says the Kalergi plan, sometimes called the Cohenhove-Kalergi conspiracy, is a far-right, anti-Semitic white genocide conspiracy theory. Whoa, boy, they sure did punt in a lot of those buzzwords, didn't they? The theory claims that Austrian-Japanese politician Richard von Coudenhove-Kalergi, creator of the Pan-European Union, concocted a plot to mix and replace white Europeans with other races via immigration. Well, a conspiracy theory? Isn't that exactly what's going on in Europe? And isn't that exactly what's been going on here in this country during the Biden administration? With between 20 and 30 million immigrants coming into this country. It goes on to say, and I read, the conspiracy theory is most often associated with European groups and parties, but it has also spread to North American politics. Here it is, they're calling it a conspiracy theory when it's happening right under your nose. That's why I'm saying, the truth is, it's really pressed up. It's in your face, ladies and gentlemen. And America, for the most part, still doesn't see it. I mean, it's in your face so close you can't even focus on it, and your nose is being pressed into your skull. That's how close it is. That's how it's in your face. And most Americans aren't seeing it. That's because they're watching the football game. Yeah, yesterday, Thursday night football. Yeah. God, my team. I don't understand. These football fans, they are so dedicated to their teams that they'll strip down damn near naked, paint their body their team colors, and go out in sub-zero temperatures to cheer on their football team. How come they don't have that kind of dedication to saving their freaking skins, and they're saving their country, saving their jobs, saving their community, saving America? And we've gotten to the point now where if you say America first, you're being called a racist. This is insanity. Oh, my goodness. Anyway, I don't mean to go off on a rant, but I mean, it's just so frustrating. I see it. And you know what? Anybody else who is paying attention and has functional gray matter strategically placed between the eyes can see it too. All right. Boy, this hour shot by again, didn't it? All right, that's going to wrap it up for today's installment of the WTF Reports. I sincerely hope that you're enjoying this broadcast. You find it interesting, informative, entertaining, and worthy of your time. And if that's the case and you're listening on Rumble or BitChute or Facebook or YouTube, please click like, share, subscribe, and above all else, spread the word, because word of mouth is the best advertising. And again, if you enjoy the broadcast, help support our advertisers. Get more Tank, the Wave Watch, Blackout Coffee. You might even want to purchase some merch. We got baseball caps, T-shirts, and coffee mugs. Help us out, folks. Do some Bitnit with us. All right, that said, don't forget the Black Friday sale of the Wave Watch ends today. Visit our website, TheWTFReports.com. and check out the Wave Watch. That said, God bless you all. Stay safe, stay free, have a safe weekend, and I'll see you Monday.